Hi, this is Greg with Northern Audio and Music to My Ear, and back with another edition of What's in My Collection. So we get asked often, what are we listening to? I get asked for recommendations, things of that nature for sonic quality audiophile demos. So we put together a little series of what I use, whatever folks come over. As I mentioned in the other videos, I know that's a big aspect of audiophilism, if you will. We want to always impress other people with what we have and what, we can show them that they've never heard before. So hopefully this will arm you with some good ideas. Some will be available. Some will be a little harder to find. Certainly not going to be self-serving and everything's a music to my ear. That's definitely not the case. You may have to hunt for some of these, but I can guarantee that they're all going to be absolute bangers as far as sonic quality and demo quality for you. So first one up, this you can actually find. These are locally produced. This is Vince Giordano. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. So it's vaudeville type music, not really something you would listen to for the music. But here's the special thing about this. I featured one of these in another video, but this is 78 RPM micro groove, meaning that it is modern day grooves in stereo. So if you think in the time domain, 33 RPM, how much space you're covering in 1 second, that's why people will do 45 RPM. You're covering that much more information in the same second. Well, think of how much you're getting at 78 RPM. So really, this etches the instruments in 3D and they kind of float in space. It's a really neat effect. We do have these downstairs in music that I'm used to my ear. They're very obtainable, locally produced. We're one of the only stores, I think the only store that carries these, but great demo record here. Next up, John Clemmer, Finesse. You may or may not have seen this record. It is a direct to disc cut record, and the sonic quality is just fantastic. The cymbals on it is just, I mean, I've never heard better cymbals. It's like they're in the room. There is absolutely no splashiness, absolutely no sibilance. It's a direct to disc recording, so it does have that kind of digital wash to it, but the analog, bump and roll, if you will. So this is a really, really good demo quality record. Dead quiet vinyl wise. Whenever you drop the needle, you don't even realize you did. When it comes on, you don't realize how loud it is. It's an extremely dynamic record. So it kind of checks all the boxes if you're trying to show off your system. A really good record here. Next up, Frank Sinatra record. A lot of good recordings on Reprise, but this particular one can be harder to find, but for good reason. The soundstage on this is huge. It's deep, wide, tall. It's one of those records that, it really pushes the envelope of what your system can do as far as sound staging is concerned and the size of it. You'll be really impressed with it if you can hunt this one down. I'm sure there's plenty of record stores that may have this laying around in the back room and not realize it. We knew what it was, so we're kind of sold out of them. You can find it on Discogs, but I know a lot of Frank Sinatra records sound good. This one's really, really good. Again, Reprise label. So worthy of a demo. Next up, we have a couple of the Pablo ones, but these are guys that have never been really repressed. So if you got the Pablo bug with the new Pablo series that came out with Analog Productions, a lot of those sound fantastic. I got the bug myself, ended up collecting all of them. But that being said, there's a lot of good recordings on Pablo that were never repressed. Some of the Pablo recordings were actually of international artists that you may have never heard of. Now, Paulino da Costa, he did a couple things with American artists, but mostly he's a Latin artist. This particular record, Agora. So really, really cool set of instrumentation, stuff you don't typically see or hear, and especially in the Pablo setting, that type of recording. And specifically, the song, the Marimba Variations, and forgive me if I mispronounce that, that is one of the top 5 things recorded I know of. It's one of those everybody's jaw hits the floor. I've showed people this whenever we've done a couple events. Same reaction. This particular one is stamped demo for whatever that's worth, but I don't think you need the demo one. Same deal with the CD. If you can only find the CD is not on streaming. I believe it's on Spotify, but you won't find it on any of the high res services. That is also worth hunting down. Sounds just as good because it's an AAD CD. So next up, Another one, ain't but a few of us left. Milt Jackson, he plays the vibes. Oscar Peterson, Ray Brown has all the fixings of great audiophile recording. Ray Brown with the plucky bass, Oscar Peterson with the dynamic piano, Milt Jackson on the vibes. So you get a lot of that, upper registers as far as the frequencies are concerned. A really, really nice sound stage. The way they typically do Milt Jackson is on the vibes. They'll kind of paint it back and forth as if he's standing in front of you. They do a really good job on this. I'm not really sure why they didn't repress this one. Hopefully it's in the future. Chad, if you're listening. So this would be one to definitely pick up. Another guy, mostly blues and some others, Count Basie and the Kansas City Septum. So this guy here, very similar quality as far as what you expect from Pablo. It's off the beaten path Count Basie record. They did do a couple of the repressings of him with the Kansas City group. But it's what you would expect from Pablo. What's neat about it is it's not a Pablo that a lot of people know. So if you're into collecting the Pablo records, this is worthy of one putting in the collection. Just overall great record, sonic quality, soundstage, what you would expect. This here, another Pablo guy, one of the odd ones that actually is not in black and white, but this is one of my favorite Pablo records. It's a trio. They do another one called a trio. I think it's like Trio Again or Back for the Second Time or something to that effect. Point is, Count Basie is usually a big band guy. That's what was special about this. He doesn't play in smaller groups often. So, he had the Kansas City 3 and whatnot, but it was very one-off. This particular record, they have a song called Blues in the Church. So with that, if you ever heard a church organ, when they use the pedal and they kind of let the air out, it's extremely dynamic. This is one of the most dynamic records I know of. When you hear that song in the church pedal, and when they let the pedal out and the organ really blare, and the way the cymbals kick in on that song, it's something to behold. The song alone makes the record worth it. But again, it's Count Basie, it's Pablo, it's good music all the way around. But that particular song, Blues in the Church, if you can find it on digital, I'm sure you'll even be able to see what I mean there. Definitely more dynamic on vinyl. And then sticking on the Basie theme, a couple reel tapes for you. I always like to show folks reel tapes. I believe that's where things sound best for music was made. But Count Basie, speaking of the Kansas City group, Kansas City 7, they did redo this on vinyl for good reason. It's a really, really, really good sounding record. Has a very black background to it, even on tape. Very black background to it. But it's a record a lot of people know the recording, didn't know it was on tape, and a new way to experience it. So if you're looking for a demo quality, may have seen this, more expensive, didn't know if it was worthy of taking the chance. Absolutely has that polish to it. And then lastly, with the Pablo stuff, this was actually the only reel-to-reel tape Pablo ever did. They did prime time on reel-to-reel. My belief, the definitive version of any of the Pablo stuff, when you introduce the tape element to it, the bump and roll and get the tape saturation, it really takes on a different life as far as the engagement, the sound stage to it. So this is probably your best sounding Pablo one right here. Good demo one. Again, a lot of people know Pablo. A lot of people didn't know they did a reel-to-reel tape. And then lastly, for the digital folks out there, here's a harder to find CD. They just repressed this not that long ago on vinyl. I believe it was for Record Store Day. Maybe I have that wrong. But nonetheless, Sahib Shahib. So this particular record, CD-wise, it's not on streaming. It's very difficult to find as far as the actual CD is concerned. It was done completely analog. Wonderful music. Sahib Shahib actually worked with Michael Jackson. So this, they give you a real nice gatefold to it as well. Really well done CD, but great sonic quality. It's one of those, I can't believe that's a CD. So if you're a CD person and you're looking for a good demo record, this is worthy of chasing down. Really good music, really good sound staging to it. Paints the whole picture, very analog sounding despite. So that's about all we have for today's edition. We'll be back with more. Hopefully you got some ideals there to be able to drum up some demos that people haven't seen. And again, thanks for listening to the music.